Hello and welcome to the 2015 Job Creation Tax Incentive Program Overview. My name is Brad Rosenblum and I'm the Chief Financial and Administrative Officer for the Center. The Life Science Job Creation Tax Incentive Program is in the Life Science Initiative passed in 2008. Per the statute, the Center can authorize up to $25 million a year in tax incentives. For the current round of the program, the Center has been authorized up to $20 million in incentives. The Center has run 6 rounds of the program previously, awarding over $140 million. We have had 300 or more applications to date across all different segments. This program is just not for biotech or pharma companies, it's just not for medtech companies, it's for companies in the entire life sciences ecosystem. We also look at geographic diversity and size of companies. This program is for both small, medium, and large-size companies. One point to drive that fact home is over 35% of the awardees have had fewer than 50 employees at the time of award. Now people will ask us, how did we come up with the criteria to make the awards? And we gathered a variety of stakeholders from state agencies, economic development agencies, and people knowledgeable about different tax incentive programs. And they helped develop our criteria. To participate in the program, a company must be a life sciences company as defined by our statute. As you can see, there are many categories that fall under this, but if you have any questions, feel free to contact the Center and we'll be able to determine if your company falls under our statute. The easiest way to understand if you're a life sciences company is if you're developing a technology in applied or advanced sciences that improves the human physiology. And that could be with medical devices, therapeutics, but it's something that will improve human health. Now the program itself, besides it being in our statute, that requires that companies are committing to create jobs in 2016. And in exchange for that, they will get tax benefits on their 2015 Massachusetts tax return. Companies have to apply to this program. It is a competitive program. You go to our website, you go to the page that says tax program, and then you click on apply here. And there'll be an online application. We only accept online applications. We will not accept hard copies or emails to the program. Another thing to note when doing an online application, you can save the application. What will happen is when you save it, a web link will come up. You cannot bookmark the page. We suggest that you take that link and either post it in an email or a Word document or Notepad, and then when you want to return back to your application, you hit the link and your application will open up. Now you can also print and save your application, and we suggest that you do that before you submit it. So you fill out all these questions in the online application. There's a critical question, which is question 28, and that is your headcount hiring commitment under the program. Companies for this round of the program are only committing to hires for 2016. There are boxes for 17, 18, 19, and 20. That is for informational purposes only. And we explicitly state this in the application, that the commitment that you have on this application, if you receive an award, will be the number that's placed in your agreement. So that's a critical question to answer. We suggest that you be conservative when you're making that commitment. Question 29 is related to the salaries related to those hires. And question 30 is what's the estimated withholding tax from the sum of the number of jobs being created in 28 times the salary in 29. So that's one set of critical questions that need to be answered. For the application itself, you also need some uploads. One is a certificate of good standing from the Secretary of State's office. The other is a certificate of good standing from the Mass Department of Revenue. You can file those both online. The Secretary of State's pretty instantaneous. Sometimes the Department of Revenue can take some time. So if you can't get that certificate by the time that you're submitting your application to the program, upload the request that you made to the Department of Revenue, and then remit that certificate of good standing once you receive it. Next thing to note, question 39, these are the incentives that I will go over shortly, but you're going to fill in the dollar amount of the incentives that you want in this question. We do get companies that do complete an application but forget to fill out this section, and this is the whole essence of where this company will get their benefits from the Commonwealth. And then you'll have to sign and submit your application. The application deadline is February 25th at noon. It is a system, and so we suggest, especially in the winter, do not wait until the last moment. In case there's a blizzard or storm that might impact it, we do not extend the deadline under the program. So companies will submit their application, and then center staff will review it. Some other things to note: companies must have at least 10 full-time employees in Massachusetts, and that we don't make awards to companies that are committing to create fewer than 10 jobs under the program. If it is a new company in the Commonwealth and they're going to create more than 50 jobs, we would also entertain those applications. We'll go through the criteria of making an award, where first of all we'll make sure that the company is present in Massachusetts, that they make those minimum 10 full-time jobs being committed in 2016, and that the company has at least 10 employees as of the date of the application. Then we'll also take and look at the different companies and see where they are geographically. We are encouraging companies outside of the greater Boston area, which is beyond 128, to apply to this program. Does not mean if you're within 128 you would not be considered for an award, but we are encouraging companies to apply. But if we do get a company in Springfield, Massachusetts, and one in the Cambridge, Boston area, all things being equal, the one in Springfield will get a heavier weighting because we are looking for geographic diversity under this program. Now, under this program, there's 10 different incentives that companies can claim. The award amount is determined by how many heads are created or committed to under this program. It is not on what incentives companies are asking for. The incentives are the way to claim that award amount. That's what they need. There's 10 different incentives under this program. 4 of them are refundable, which means if the company is not in a tax-paying situation, or if they use the incentive to reduce their taxable income down to 0, they would get the remainder as cash. Now, to get that cash, there's a 10% reduction of what you would receive, because the Commonwealth requires, if you want to get a refund, there's a reduction of 10%. There's 10 different incentives under this program. I'm going to refer you to our website on the tax program page that has a Mass Department of Revenue tax information release on the 9 incentives, and then there's an additional document related to the Life Science Job Incentive Credit. Now, if a company receives an award, they will have to enter into an agreement with the center. At this point in time, this is where companies select which incentive or incentives they want to claim. Companies can claim more than one incentive. In another section of the agreement, this is where we memorialize the headcount commitment. Companies will need to provide us their baseline headcount at 12/31/2015. And the headcount is defined as a full-time equivalent, which is 35 hours or more per week. It does not include seasonal workers, temporary workers, co-ops, interns, consultants, employees from an employment agency. It has to be a full-time Massachusetts headcount. Now, if an employee lives in New Hampshire and works in Massachusetts, they would still qualify under this program. We will take that baseline headcount. We will take the headcount number that was in the application at question 28. And for the next 5 years, companies will be measured against that total. That will be in the agreement, and that's why we do not allow that headcount number to be adjusted once the application is submitted. In addition, in the agreement, there are reporting requirements under this program. For the first 3 calendar quarters within 30 days of their quarter ends, meaning March 31st, June 30th, and September 30th, companies will send an email to the Life Science Center specifying what their full-time equivalent headcount was for that quarter end. And then in January, the center will send out to the companies an annual report that will need to be certified by the company of what their headcount was at 12/31 that just ended. This will go on for 5 years and will measure the company against their commitment. In that first annual report, companies will also be asked what's the average salaries of the new hires that were made. And in addition, we ask for some educational background information. So those are the reporting requirements under the program. Also in the agreement, it specifies that the awards cannot be claimed prior to July 1st, 2016. 8 of the benefits are provided by the filing of the Massachusetts tax return. For the ones that are refundable, the refund will occur 6 to 8 weeks usually after the filing of the tax return. So that's how companies claim their award. It's through the filing. The sales tax exemptions are actually a unique certificate that companies use for a 12-month period. Now, under the program, we will measure companies on their achievement every year. And depending on what those outcomes are, the company can either be in good standing, they could have the award terminated and recovered, or if you're in this middle ground, the award will go under investigation, and then we'll present those facts to a subset of our board of directors known as the investment committee, and they can give that company an extension of time to the end of that calendar year to get in good standing, where now companies have to achieve at least 80% of their commitment to stay in good standing. If not, the award will be terminated. Now, to find out more about those thresholds, on our website is our annual report and multiple awards policy that will specify the different percentages and thresholds that occur. Now, on the good news is if a company achieves at least 90% of their net new hire commitment, they can get additional awards from the program. We've had companies that have gone 2, 3, 4 additional awards from the program. So that is the clawback, but also the carry to incentivize companies under this program. Our headcount reporting policy, the applicant and any of their wholly owned subsidiaries or divisions have to report their headcount. In addition, if a company is owned by a parent company and that parent company's total global consolidated revenues 75% or more from the life sciences industry, then the applicant must also include in their baseline and their quarterly and annual reporting all of the related entities in the Commonwealth owned by that parent, including headquarters of that parent. If the company's global consolidated revenues are less than 75% from the life sciences industry, then it's just the applicant and any of their wholly owned subsidiaries and divisions. Again, these are FTEs, 35 hours or more per week. It's not third-party contractors, it's not consultants, it's not temporary employees. Here you can see the process of the 2015 Job Creation Tax Incentive Program. The application's open till February 25th at noon. Again, the system will shut down automatically. Then the Life Science Center will review this for administrative purposes. If there's any abnormalities, we will reach out very quickly to the applicants, and the applicants will have a short time, 24 to 48 hours, to reply to any inquiries that we have. Otherwise, the application will be deemed unresponsive. We start screening the data. We will send the data over to the Mass Department of Revenue, which will do some of their validation. Also by statute, they also need to do cost implications from the Commonwealth. Then we start determining our award criteria towards the end of March. The Commissioner of the Department of Revenue and the Secretary of Administration and Finance need to sign off on the cost of the awards prior to us providing them to our Board of Directors for a vote. Now, at the end of April, we plan to have a board meeting to make the awardees of this program known. We will notify applicants of the disposition of their application at that time. For the companies that get awards, we look to enter into those agreements within 60 days. There will also be a press release at that time specifying the applicant's name, the amount that they've awarded, and the job commitment that they're making under the program. Some key dates to take note of for the tax program. Applications are only accepted through the website through February 25th at noon. It's systematic, and we'll be making awards at the end of April 2016. And you can see on the slide that we have various information sessions to be held. If you need to reach out to us, there's an email box that we are looking at multiple times a day. It's taxprogram@masslifesciences.com. And always feel free to visit our website, www.masslifesciences.com, for center programs in general, but we also have more details on our tax program page. Thank you for participating in this overview.